All right, welcome to the mess. You might notice that's a little different. Something's missing back here. Oh, and we got no stickers except for Thunder Lane. I buy custom suspension at thunderlane.us. Best of the best. I'll use code AG_G35 for 20% off of Z and G coilover setups. Anyway, starting to prep for the season. I took off the Aero for a few reasons. One of those I'll get into here in a minute. The front bumper, though, that was going to get changed regardless. I had a fiberglass top secret replica. It was a Duraflex from Car ID. Actually, just let me pull it out of here so you guys can see what I'm talking about. The top half looks really cool. This kind of showed off the VHR dual filters pretty nicely. But as you can see, the bottom didn't fare so well. So I bought this bumper before Hyperfest. I ran one test day at VIR with it, and I crashed it into the top of the trailer loading it up. It was pouring rain. My buddy Pat was there helping me, trying to guide me up the trailer, and it was a dire situation. It was torrential downpour and I needed to get out of there. So I hit the front of the trailer a little bit. Didn't really do much damage. At Hyperfest, I went off in turn 10. I had a loose right rear tow arm and didn't even know it. Was driving, I was like, why is this car understeer so bad? Next thing, in the grass, flying through the air. This thing took a little bit of a beating, but it was mostly fine. And then after Hyperfest, I took it to Tar Heel Autocross, and me and my buddy Justin took it for a rip at the autocross with the new motor. It was great. But when we were loading up to leave, the trailer was on sand, and the ramps sunk into the ground a little bit, and on the way up, I crashed it straight into the front of the trailer, and I destroyed it. It's been zip tied together for a long time. I'd rather just not have to deal with that. So, switch back to an OEM front bumper. I got this off Facebook Marketplace. It's actually in pretty good condition. One nice thing about an OEM front bumper is that it actually lines up without doing any fancy shit to it. Don't mind that, it's not bolted in yet. There's the first reason. I took off this piece of shit because it was broken. Second reason, we're going to take this car down to AMP for the first Hooked on Driving event this season. And my buddy Devin, who is actually the owner of Hooked on Driving, has a really nice 350Z Nismo. Really similar build overall, similar weight, similar diff, motor, power, everything. Same tires, but he has no Aero, and he has MCS 3-ways. So we want to do a real test to see how the Thunder Lane suspension matches up with something like an MCS 3-way, which is in a completely different ballpark of price. One-way setup we have here on the G35 is around $2,300 US, and that's including tax and shipping. So all in $2,300. MCS 3-way, I believe, between like $7,000 and $10,000. Our Lane 3-way is probably half that. I'd have to check. I don't know off the top of my head, but we're going to go with the one-way first, and we're going to do a little comparison. In order to make it fair, the wing came off. Not going to run a splitter, but we are going to put this Nismo wing that I've had forever back on the car, since I think this is more of a fair match for the OEM Nismo Aero on the 350Z. Throw that on there just real quick so we could remember what that looks like. I used to run this unpainted when I ran SECA time trials, Tuner 3. This was allowed because this was a OEM optional Aero piece. Let's line that up a little better. It looks pretty cool from the front, but can't say the same from the sides or the back. It looks a little wonky, but I do think that this wing is pretty effective, and the balance of the car is much better with this and no splitter than it was with the giant wing and the giant splitter. Unfortunately, for grassroots type of stuff, you're going to be able to generate the same amount of downforce in the front with a homemade splitter as you will in the rear with like a giant 9 Live 72-inch kit like I had on mine. Maybe sometime in the future down the line, I'll maybe design some new pylons to move the wing forward and put it back on the car. But for now, I think I'm having more fun driving it like this, even if it is marginally slower, which I don't think it will be. For NASA at least, I'd be able to run way less weight by taking the wing off and the splitter and running a base trim model Aero. And just in my testing on the street and like the limited testing I've done on track without the wing, the straight line speeds are, 3-4 per hour faster. So I think it should even out for the most part, outside of some like really high speed tracks like NC car. Yesterday, I cracked out the strings. I did a little string alignment. My alignment before was way off. I changed a bunch of stuff in the rear suspension, changed the heights, and I just eyeballed everything. It wasn't even close. Strings brought me pretty close. Previously with the wing, because of the way it made the handling balance, I had way too much rear grip at high speeds. So we had 0 toe in the rear and about 2 degrees of camber. In the front, we had 3.5 degrees, or as close as we could get to 3.5 degrees of camber, and an 1/8 inch toe out. And I found out, where is it? Right here. I found out the other day how bad this ball joint, or this tie rod end was on the right front. It was moving probably almost a 1/4 inch in either direction. So it was probably more like a 1/2 inch of toe out once the car was moving. This made it rotate really well at high speeds. You could see in some of my videos, specifically at NC car and even at CMP, the cornering speeds I was able to have in really high speed corners, like anything above 70 miles an hour. But when it came to low speed stuff, the 0 toe in the rear really made the car undrivable, and probably the toe in the front, or the toe out rather, was contributing that. Now what I'm hoping is that this test at AMP, where we run against Devon's 350Z, will turn out really good. I think this car is going to drive really good without the Aero. It makes 338 wheel horsepower, which is a lot or a little depending on who you ask. The car should weigh around 3,200 pounds with me in it. I don't think a car with this much tire really needs Aero at that power level. You should be able to make it around the track just fine without it. This has a long wheelbase. It's very stable at high speeds. It's very stable under braking. I don't know if it's necessary. If that test goes well, we may continue to run this car without Aero going forward. That would be preferred for me. I hit my head on the wing. I dragged the splitter mounts, dragged the splitter on everything. The car, it's just a pain in the ass to deal with Aero. Like, obviously it feels way better, but it does add a lot of drag. It makes the car have some less than desirable handling characteristics sometimes. And yeah, this is just way cooler. I just really enjoyed having this car as a stock-ish car before I went too crazy. And now with the VHR swap, I kind of want to put most of the interior back in and leave it like that so I could drive around on the street, because this may be hard to believe, but this car has the Thunderlane track setup. We developed it specifically for this car. This has a 20K front spring and an 8K true rear, which sounds really stiff, but in all honesty, this car rides better than my truck or like any other normal car I've driven recently. Even though the springs are so stiff, it just really goes to show what a nicely matched spring and damper combo can do. And of course, what happens when you set it up correctly. My buddy Rob Keener, he corner balanced the car originally at the beginning of last season. He helped me with the setup. We're probably going to bring it back to him here soon, and then he'll go over it. We'll shoot some more videos and talk about why we made the decisions that we made and how we get this car as close to 50-50 weight distribution as possible. One of the last things I have to deal with before the season starts here is just to get the car corner balanced, and then just make sure the alignment's actually correct, and then get a matching set of wheels and tires on here. I've just had the worst luck with wheels and tires. At the end of last season, I ran over the curb in turn 8 at CMP and busted up one of the wheels, the white Koenigs. I wouldn't blame it on the wheel or the tire at all. I cut the curb way too short, and I hit the inside of the curb, and it kind of dragged the lip and broke the wheel outward. So I had switched to these AO52s on these stage nights. As soon as I put them on the car, I pulled out of the garage and I drove it around the block for maybe 5 minutes, and I ran over a nail. So I don't have 4 matching tires with good wheels. So got to deal with that. But other than that, this car is ready to go. I could take it to the track tomorrow and I'd be happy with it.